Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here, and welcome back to the continuing deep dive into the depths of Shadows of Brimstone and the Forbidden Fortress. And today we are continuing our look at the expansions with Temples of Shadows. They call this a deluxe expansion. I don't know about that. You could look at this expansion in two different ways, really. A cynical person might look at this as a video game player might look at DLC that's on the disc. And what that means is like downloadable content, future content that is locked away, that's already on the disc when you buy the game. Because in many ways, all this expansion does is augment the core set for Forbidden Fortress. And so in some ways I can see people having the complaint that, well, you know what, a lot of this stuff probably should have just been in the core set. And maybe they could have charged a little bit more money. You know, they could have called the Forbidden Fortress core set a deluxe core set. However, the non-cynical person could look at this as a way to get 4 more heroes and a way to get more stuff for your core set without having to buy 2 different core sets like they did with the Old West setting. So with Forbidden Fortress, they didn't have 2 different core sets. You only had 1 core set. And then they had this, the Temple of Shadows. It is in this expansion that you're going to get your 4 additional heroes for the Eastern setting. And you are also going to get basically just a whole bunch of cards that you're going to add into the various decks of cards into the Forbidden Fortress core set. However, additionally, you are also going to get 4 enemies. So it's a really weird expansion. If you only own Forbidden Fortress and nothing else, I say picking this up is a no-brainer. This is a great way to augment Forbidden Fortress. If you already own a bunch of stuff for Shadows of Brimstone, but you don't own this, I don't know if I can recommend it. I don't think the heroes are fantastic. Only really one of the enemies I think is like really cool. Some of the tiles look nice, and some of the missions are good, but this would not be an expansion that I prioritize unless you only own the Forbidden Fortress core set. I do like the cover art quite a bit. I think it's far more dynamic than the Forts of the Dead. Just it looks more action-packed, it looks more dramatic. And let's see who that cover art was done by here. Where is our art information in this book? On the back cover. Box art by Ralph Horsley. And then interior illustrations by Brian Snoddy, Ralph Horsley, Marius Ganzel, and Matthew Morgaine. So no new names this time. But let's take a look at the back of the box like we do. Nice picture on the back of the box there of some of those enemies. Those are the Takobake soldiers there, the like squid soldiers. And this says a little bit of flavor text. Sweeping across the fields and mountains of Japan, the fallen shogun leads the Takobake samurai clan on a war of conquest in his mad thirst for domination. By harnessing the power of the Darkstone, they have laid waste to any other clans that dare to challenge them on the field of battle. But they have also become terribly mutated, growing masses of tentacles from their faces and arms. Now the armies of the Takobake scour the temples and castles that have fallen into shadow, searching for sacred relics and ancient artifacts to unlock the forbidden knowledge they need to become unstoppable. And there's your box contents and the example of the kinds of things you're going to get. So really this is kind of like the only, well, this is the only small small box or boxed expansion at all, where you're going to get 4 brand new heroes. I really wish that they would release at retail boxes of hero expansions, because as far as I can tell, it's still somewhat difficult to get all of those older expansion heroes like the cowboy or the shaman, the doctor. And we're going to take a look at some of those after we take a look at these expansions. But so if you just want 4 new heroes, I guess also this is a pretty good expansion to get. However, I only think that one of the heroes in this expansion is really that interesting. But let's take a look at our rulebook here, our rulebook and adventure book. So you're going to get your game contents. Now, really what this expansion does, it just adds a whole bunch of cards to all of the decks of cards that are already included with Forbidden Fortress. So you're going to get more Growing Dread, more Darkness cards. You're going to get more 4 more map tiles for with 4 rooms for the Forbidden Fortress and the Belly of the Beast. You're going to get all of the cards you need for your heroes. You're going to get more encounter cards, more gear cards, more personal item, loot, that kind of stuff. And you're just going to mix it in with the stuff from your core set already. The 4 new map tiles they're very good, just like the new map tiles on all of the new sets are. Very nice illustrations, good colors. I think they really knocked it out of the park with the Belly of the Beast stuff. It just looks gross. I like this tile here. We might have taken a look at this. I might have accidentally confused this, that this was included in the Forbidden Fortress when we first took a look at that. But really nicely done there. A nice little garden tile here. Some kind of atrium, I should say. Yeah, that tile, that is fantastic. Remember that old video game, I think it was called Life Force or Salamander, where it was a Konami game, like a precursor to, I think it was to Gradius, or where you were flying your ship inside this beast. Totally reminds me of that. And then one more map tile here with this kind of like summoning magic circle. And then on the back, some kind of like strange intestine or something. So you're going to get new missions, some new enemies, 4 new heroes, which we're going to take a detailed look at one of those. And then your typical markers, some more bleeding markers, some more void venom markers, some mana tokens, distract tokens, because the geisha can, one of her abilities is she can distract a foe, so she has a little special ability, and then some additional counters. And this is expanding on the Forbidden Fortress. The Temple of Shadows expansion is intended to build on the Shadows of Brimstone Forbidden Fortress core set. So this was in lieu, like I said, of releasing 2 core sets for the Eastern setting. As such, there are several mechanics and game components that it is assumed players already have access to from that set, such as the rules for casting elemental magic, barriers, world cards, etc. The new cards in this set should be added to the existing card decks from the Forbidden Fortress core set. So it goes over your new enemies here, the Chochinobake, one of like the little yokai. I wish that they would have included more like yokai spirits and yokai monsters as enemies, just because there are so many. And I have a really good idea for a hero. I'm going to talk a little bit about the heroes, but I was kind of, like I was saying, I was kind of disappointed with the heroes in this expansion. They're kind of, I think they're kind of boring. I think a really cool expansion hero for this set would be like a yokai master. It would kind of be like a Pokemon master, where you would have this, this priest type character who's able to capture and summon yokai to help him on the battlefield. Because there really isn't a character in Shadows of Brimstone that summons other creatures to help out. So that would be a fantastic idea for an expansion hero for Shadows of Brimstone Forbidden Fortress. And then you're going to get your spearmen, your skin crawlers, which are kind of just like your regular tentacles, kind of boring. But then this guy right here, your fallen shogun, he's quite large and I really like him a lot. And then you're going to get your missions. You're going to have the Cursed Temple. You're going to have the Sacred Relic, the Enemy at the Gates, which is a pretty complex mission. It's got some different kinds of setup and objectives. Kind of a different style of mission that I haven't seen a lot. This is a fantastic mission, the Beast Beneath the World, where you're basically starting near like the lungs, and then you have to go down through like the stomach, through its digestion tract, and come out a little sphincter there at the bottom, at the escape area. So you are literally passing through this beast's digestive tract to escape its clutches. That is super cool. And then Ancient Hunger and Power of the Shogun. So once again, they have kind of upped the creativity in the missions as the game has progressed. And then you're going to come to your 4 heroes. So we do have the Soldier. And the Soldier is kind of a basic brawler. There is a male and female side, of course. The male side is the cannon side. And here is his upgrade chart for his stats, and then the different 4 different upgrade paths you can take him on. Warfare, Defender, Loyalty, or Veteran. And then we have the Geisha, who the female is the cannon, and then the male, which is a kabuki actor, would be your male counterpart. And it's kind of like the saloon girl piano player. They even are dainty, and they are showmen. And they also have reassuring touch. So, I mean, it's like they kind of just reskinned the character from the Old West setting into this setting. So that was kind of a disappointment for me. But you have your upgrade path there, and then the different paths. You have the Graceful, Beauty, Theater, and Ruthless. And then you have the Kitsune. So we're going to take a closer look at Kitsune in just a minute. And then the Enforcer, which to me, the Enforcer is also like another brawler, and you already have the Soldier. They both, you know, I guess the Soldier is more for long range, and the Enforcer is more for close range melee. But I don't know, just a little boring. He is a cool character because he does have an endurance 4, so he can never take more than 4 hits. He has great defense, but just not too exciting, especially compared to some of the other heroes and some of the expansion heroes, which I think are a little more on the dynamic side to play. And his upgrade chart is Mobster, Threat. So he's basically like a Yakuza. Mobster, Threats, Fortitude, and Bravado. But it seems like the focus character is the Kitsune, kind of a fox spirit warrior. There's the mini. So the cannon on that is a female fox. And Stealth, Traveler, Otherworld, and Mythic. I really want to see more mythic heroes and heroes in this set that use the mythic capabilities of all of the like Japanese and Eastern folklore and mythology. I don't feel like they've really embraced that side of this theme fully yet, and I hope they do. Pretty low on the stats. You have Agility 3, Cunning 2, Spirit 4, that's high, Strength 2, Lore 3, Luck 1, Initiative 4. You've got high Sanity, and good willpower, and okay health. And then we have the starting ability cards here. You have Pounce, you are +1 move, and you can move through other models. Your combat hits are +1 damage against enemies that have not activated, so enemies that are at a lower initiative. Elemental Spirit, so then you can cast magic, and this expansion does come with additional cards to mix into your elemental magic decks. So once you get this expansion, you do have a lot of magic to choose from. There are 8 different spells now in each element. So you have your earth spells, and then you have your wind spells here. So having 8 spells of each type is a good amount of variety. I like that. You have your water spells, and then of course your fire spells here. So if you pick, I would pick probably the elemental spirit if I was going to pick her and I didn't have the sorceress. She's kind of like a, in Warhammer Quest, the elf could kind of be, or I guess in Hero Quest too, how the elf was kind of like a supplemental magic character to the wizard. This is kind of that same idea. And then you have a trickster as well. And then the kitsune starts with the kama knives. Your combat hits treat enemy defense higher than 2 as only 2. So that's nice. They're good at penetrating defense. But this is kind of like the focused character just because it adds some magic. But there isn't that one hero character where it feels like they really poured a lot of creativity to in this set. And ultimately, that's why I am a little lackluster, a little disappointed in the heroes that are included in this set. But again, it is the only way to get 4 heroes in one box without buying another core set. So then we have some overview on the enemies, your skin crawlers, your Chochinobake lanterns, your Takobake spearmen, and the fallen shogun. And you get a little painting guide. So that is about it as far as what's included in the book. The cards, I just took out a few sample cards because a lot of the cards are already mixed in to the other decks. One thing this does add, and you can also get others of these by buying different expansion card packs, is you get these kind of adventure theme cards. And what these are is you can choose to use one of these at the beginning of a game, and then it is going to add kind of like a layer of theme and a couple rules, a couple mechanisms on top of the game. Think of these as kind of like, they're kind of like the world cards. They augment whatever mission you are in with additional elements. And so a lot of the missions in this expansion actually will use this Fallen Temple card. But then you might have some others that are like Badlands encounters where things are tougher. Or if you're playing against the Spider Queen, you might have this. You might want to use this Spider Queen adventure, which will change up things a little bit. Or if you're also in the Forbidden Fortress, you might want to use this Sacred Mountains adventure. And there are a number of these that you can get. And just another way to kind of spice things up. This expansion does come with 4 Darkness cards. Again, fantastic art on the Darkness cards. You've got Dark Laughter. I love that picture. They're everywhere. Terrifying to Behold. And the Forces of Darkness. And then you will get 4 map cards that correspond to the Forbidden Fortress. And each one of those does have its own advanced encounter associated with it. You will also get your 4 map cards for your Belly of the Beast side of the tile. And each one of those also has a advanced encounter associated with it. Wet Heat. Maybe it should be like Moist Heat. It would have been grosser. And then you will also get 4 new personal items: an ornate comb, weathered eye patch, traditional face makeup, and dragon tattoo. And then I think a couple of these like organ pieces are from this set, but I'm not sure if they are in the core set or in this set, and I just wanted to bring them out just to show them because they look so gross. All right, so then finally today we will take a look at our enemies, starting with the Chochinobake lanterns, little yokai lanterns here that bounce around on their tongue. I really wanted the umbrella, the one-legged umbrella yokai in this game. I can't remember what those ones are called. These things jump around. They have a lashing tongue. They are explosive when they are killed. They're pretty weak with only 3 health, 2 defense, but when they start exploding, they can get pretty dangerous and it can be a lot of fun. And then there is their brutal side there. And then we have the skin crawlers. Pretty disappointing in these guys. They're really tough, but they're just, I don't really find them much fun to fight. And it's just another, kind of another version of the tentacle. A little more complex than the tentacle because they have terror, they burrow, they have sticky mucus, and parasitic leech. I think mainly it's just kind of thematically, it's just another tentacle. They only have 1 combat die, but look at that damage. Holy crap. That is huge, but good thing they can only hit once. But these things can totally thrash you, that's for sure. So I guess they're not as boring as I was thinking, but I think it's just thematically, I didn't want another, just another tentacle. Maybe like a weird kind of like cell would have been cooler. But the brutal side here, damage of 12. Jeez. You do not want to get pummeled by one of those. And then we have our Tokabake Spearmen. Pretty cool. I like those guys. I like this. I like how their tentacles like completely wrapped around the spear. That's a really nice detail. They have armor. They regenerate. They have spears. They can make melee attacks up to 3 spaces away. Those are really long spears, like 15-foot long, long spears. They do critical hits. They only have melee. They roll 3 combat dice, but they only do 2 damage, and they only have 4 health with a defense of 3. So they're not that tough. And then there is the brutal side. And then finally, we have our fallen shogun here. Now, he is awesome. I really like this guy. He's kind of like a mini boss. So when I talk about how I like to play a campaign using Hexcrawl coming up in a future episode, and I do like a mini boss and a boss hunt, he can be included as one of the mini bosses for that boss hunt. He has unspeakable terror, darkstone armor, so he's got good armor. He blocks wounds on a 4-up. He is a ruthless warlord. He has darkstone radiation, and his brutal blade like sweeps, so it'll hit adjacent enemies or adjacent heroes and do damage to them as well. It has splash damage basically. He only has a melee attack. He only rolls 2 combat dice, and he does only 4 damage. 25 health, 2 per hero. He only has a 2 defense, but that armor will help him mitigate wounds. And then there is his elite chart there. All right, and then there is the brutal side. So yeah, you don't get a ton in this expansion. That's why I have a hard time calling it a deluxe expansion. It's a weird one. It's a very weird expansion. I can't say that I recommend it unless you only own Forbidden Fortress. So, all right, that is all of the big box expansions. Next up, I think we're going to start taking a look at either some of the enemy expansions or some of the mission packs. And then I'm not sure where we're going to go from there, but we are kind of wrapping up. Maybe in another 2 weeks on Shadows of Brimstone. We'll see. I hope you guys aren't getting tired of taking a look at everything. I hope you are still enjoying this super deep dive into Shadows of Brimstone. So take it easy, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.